30 years later, all those who bought high-rise apartments will discover they themselves turned out to be the biggest old fool. This is the future of domestic high-rise residential buildings. This outcome was predestined from the very beginning. Because we started late, and many ordinary people didn't understand it. So during the urbanization wave in recent years, they rushed to buy high-rises. But in reality, this act is no different from sticking out their necks waiting for capital's scythe. High-rise residential buildings have a fatal flaw, directly leading to their inability to end well. This is something the land sellers won't tell you. Developers won't tell you either. What's this fatal flaw? It's that high-rise residential buildings will have no buyers in the future. In recent years, as China's urbanization process accelerated, the population continuously migrated to cities. To meet the housing demand brought by massive population inflows, rows of high-rises sprang up. Especially in big cities where land is gold, the number of skyscrapers rapidly increased. Skylines were constantly refreshed. However, as time passed, the problems of high-rise residential buildings also emerged. Some experts believe high-rise residential buildings have limited appreciation potential, yet their maintenance costs are high. In the future, they will become slums in the sky. Actually, there are already such slums in Shenzhen today. Today, let's talk about the topic of high-rise slums. It's hard to believe that at the border of Shenzhen and Dongguan, there's actually a real-life version of high-rise slums hidden. This is a garden community located in Guanjing, Dongguan. The community was built in 1993. So far it's only been 30+ years, yet the exterior walls have long been dilapidated. Many owners couldn't stand the terrible living environment and moved away long ago. Stepping into this area, a sense of decay and decline hits you, as if entering a slum. It's truly unimaginable. Today, buildings with dozens of floors. What will they look like 30 years later? Data shows, as of the first half of 2024, in the past decade, there have been over 30,000 high-rise building fires nationwide. Among them, elevator accidents in high-rise residential buildings account for a significant proportion. The main reason is elevator overload, long-term service without proper maintenance and upkeep. Many Chinese people have emptied the savings of 2 generations, using 6 wallets, to buy a home. They thought that after 30 years of repaying the loan, they could retire peacefully. But in reality, it's not the case. Decades later, the house could turn into a slum, because no one will take over high-rise residential buildings in the future. Blogger Shen Gay believes the first batch of super high-rise buildings will soon enter their aging period. Once they enter the aging period, the hidden dangers will become very serious. Super high-rise refers to buildings with over 40 floors. Houses are like people. They have a life cycle. They also have a lifespan. The older the super high-rise, the greater the hidden dangers. They will gradually enter the first wave of the aging stage. First, elevators will frequently break down. Water and electrical pipelines will often need repairs, either leaking, seeping, or walls peeling. These problems will frequently occur and become increasingly severe. If you live above the 30th floor, fire safety issues become even more troublesome, because most cities' firefighting equipment today simply can't reach above the 30th floor. Especially older buildings from the 1980s and 1990s, over 30 years old. The living experience itself is already poor. Hidden dangers will be even greater. Now, facing the aging problems of high-rises, the future will be very troublesome, because no one will bear the responsibility. Once hidden dangers arise, who will carry out the repairs? Developers won't care after selling the units. Maintenance costs will also skyrocket. They can't be demolished either, because there are no developers willing to demolish them. The cost of demolition is simply too high. Just think about it. The future of these high-rise buildings, if the elevator needs to be replaced, or if reinforcement work is required, such issues require a very high cost. May I ask who will bear this cost? Who will spend this money? The property management's meager funds. You simply shouldn't count on it. It's far from enough. A house on the 63rd floor feels like living in the sky. This apartment, I've had it listed since April 2022, at an asking price of 4.19 million, reduced to the current asking price of 3 million 2025. yet no one has shown interest. You should know. When I bought this apartment as a new property, I paid a total of 4.5 million. Now I've lost a full 1.5 million, not even counting the loan interest. High-rise residential buildings are truly a massive pitfall. That's right. I'm the one who bought the top floor unit on the 63rd floor in Guangzhou. My apartment is located in Lagang District, Wangang New City. Now it's unsellable. And I refuse to live in it. It's made me depressed. And the daily wait for the elevator when leaving home is extremely frustrating. Sometimes I really want to learn skydiving skills. Keep a parachute at home. Fortunately, Guangzhou is a city without earthquakes. Otherwise, there'd really be no escape. Living in such an ultra-high-rise building is simply nerve-wracking. Every day I pray that no fire breaks out. Otherwise, the fire truck ladder won't reach. It's already over 200 meters here. An old homeowner said in an interview, I live in a high-rise. What I fear most is a fire. I think if a fire happens, there's no way for me to escape. I just have to wait for death. One time I heard there was a fire in the next building. I was so scared that I broke out in a cold sweat. I quickly packed some important things. I prepared to escape, but I found the elevator had already stopped. The stairs were also shrouded in smoke. There was no way to go down. I could only wait for rescue at home. I think that was the most terrifying moment of my life. This blogger also had a similar experience. When he took the elevator to the 4th floor, the elevator suddenly stopped moving. Oh my God, this is so scary. When taking the elevator to the 4th floor, it suddenly shook. Ended up like this. Just now. Even the electricity went out. Oh my God. It can't even connect to the web page now. My goodness. This happened again. Last time, it just went up and then shook. Sigh. You wouldn't dare ride it someday. People say someone died. Before this, it could still connect to the web page. Now, it can't connect. It shook when it reached the 4th floor. Sigh. Before this, I could still talk to the web page side. Sigh. Hello. This elevator, I don't know what's going on. When it reached the 4th floor, after it shook, now it shows 2 dashes. Yes. As for why it's like this, we have no idea. Anyway, it's quite scary. This elevator. This isn't the first time. 4 young men at 1:30 a.m. were trapped in the elevator for 25 minutes. Hello. Our elevator is stuck on the 2nd floor. The door won't open. It just shook a moment ago. Oh, Coke. Then I'll go take a nap again. Too fast. Quick. I was just on the 4th floor. Like squatting? Squat down. My hand went numb for a moment. Go over and give it a kick. Squat. Next time, take the stairs. Let's take the stairs wherever we go. The blogger reminds as a freshman. People who want to buy a house absolutely do not buy high-rise housing. He said he lives on the 20th floor. When he bought this apartment, it was because the lighting and view were both excellent. He has lived here for almost 3 years. But the longer he lives there, the more problems arise. First of all, the first issue is the noise problem. After I moved in, at first there was no one upstairs or downstairs. After some time passed, once people moved in, the sound of children playing, the sound of high heels, it drives me crazy. I have to negotiate with them every day. Sometimes it gets really tense, but then, in the end, it just stays like that. After all, we're all neighbors. He said the second issue is the elevator. Every morning when going to work, everyone uses the elevator. He has to wait at least 10 minutes before he can go downstairs. Third is, the phone signal is very weak on higher floors. He didn't think of this problem when buying it, but later he discovered, the higher the floor, the worse the signal. Making a call requires constantly moving around. It has truly become a mobile phone. The fourth point is, what is it? The most unbearable issue for me is the problem with water supply and heating. At night, during peak water usage hours, the water flow becomes intermittent. Sometimes it almost stops entirely. Another issue is the heating problem. This is even more annoying. My heating fees, I feel, are basically wasted. Every winter, I call 12,345 to complain, but it never works. They say anything above 18 degrees is already considered meets the standard. So these two issues are the ones that bother me the most, because I have a child at home, and I'm afraid of catching a cold. During the coldest part of winter, I have to turn on the air conditioner. So, you must carefully consider the floor level. Fifth, I'm especially afraid of power outages, guys. Have you ever climbed 20 floors? Me. I've actually experienced it once. That day, the power outage happened to catch me. I climbed 20 floors, drenched in sweat. By the time I got home, my wife asked, "Are you trying to work hard and lose weight?" She said. This house makes her feel unsafe. During extreme weather, when there's strong wind or heavy rain, she feels like the whole building is shaking. When it thunders, she feels like it's striking inside the room. Broadcast host Chen Ziosu's husband spent over $3 million to buy a property on the 60th floor of a super high-rise residential building. She said living 200 meters in the air every day makes her regret it deeply. She said, there are too many drawbacks to ultra-high-rise residential buildings. What troubles her the most is waiting for the elevator every day. The wait can take up to 20 minutes. She originally calculated her commute time, but if the elevator wait is too long, she ends up being late for work. Every time she's late, her salary gets docked by 100 yuan, and her monthly salary is only a few thousand yuan. She feels helpless. Moreover, the elevator is prone to malfunctions. Once it breaks down, or there's a power outage, she and her husband have to take the stairs, climbing from the first floor to the 60th. The second issue is living 200 meters above the ground, which gives her no sense of security. She can't even sleep peacefully. The railing is only a little over a meter tall, not even as tall as I am. Leaning over and looking down, it feels extremely dangerous. And when the kids play around here, it's genuinely nerve-wracking to watch. This railing connects the buildings in the complex. I told the property management I'd pay to have it enclosed myself, because it's really too dangerous for kids to play here. But the property management won't allow it. I'm not someone who's afraid of heights, but standing here makes my legs weak, as if I might plummet any second. It's just too unsafe. Plus, this railing is exposed to wind and rain outdoors, and over time, the screws easily rust, loosen, or fall off. It's very hazardous. The host mentioned, although living on the 60th floor offers open views and good lighting, during windy weather, the entire building seems to sway. It's downright terrifying. The fourth issue is, in case of a fire. The highest fire truck ladder only reaches about 100 meters, but our home is at a height of 200 meters. Think about it. Even firefighters wouldn't be able to care about me. Once a fire breaks out, the consequences would be unimaginable. Fires can be deadly. It's not something to joke about. Given the height of our home, even firefighters would be powerless to help. Once the fire starts burning, it spreads upward. It's really a headache. This host lives on the 50th floor. He explained in the video how to respond in case of a fire. I spent all last night reading materials and decided to create a high-rise fire survival guide for everyone. After all, I really live on the 50th floor, one of the tallest residential buildings in China. I hope you never have a need for this guide. So, in the case of a big fire like yesterday's, heavy smoke, high-rise, what should you do? If a fire breaks out in a home as tall as mine, never attempt to escape blindly. You could easily get trapped in the hallway by rising thick smoke. The first thing to do is use the back of your hand to touch the door handle. Check if the fire is very close. If it's hot, that means you can't leave. At this point, you must take shelter in the room farthest from the fire and wait for rescue. During this time, you can do many things to slow the fire's spread toward your home. The first is to tightly close all windows and doors. Use wet towels to block door gaps. If the door handle isn't hot, go check the stairwell for any thick smoke. Normally, if there's no smoke yet in the main door and hallway, you can immediately assume a crouching position and escape downward. But for a height like mine, you must be very cautious when going downstairs, because high-rise fires have a chimney effect. Within 30 seconds, the fire can spread to the top of a 100-meter tall building. When there is no smoke on ordinary floors, quickly escape along the safety passage. In the past, we thought these high-rise buildings were tall, which was fine, so we rushed into high-rises without thinking. But, in reality, the taller the building, the bigger the problems. First, the difficulty of maintenance increases, and the repair costs also rise. Right now, we might not realize the severity of this issue. That's because most high-rises today are less than 20 years old and haven't reached the point where problems arise. The design lifespan of many domestic buildings, though mostly 50 years, but, in reality, around 25 years. Aging issues emerge, such as peeling walls, insufficient water pressure, broken pipes. But due to the building height,